The original PlayStation was one of the best places for RPG lovers, with a wealth of amazing titles to keep gamers playing for years to come. With the debut of the PS2, Sony knew that it was important to hold on to that dedicated RPG fanbase, and gamers were equally as excited to see what incredible worlds the next generation of gaming had to offer. One of those early PS2 RPGs was Dark Cloud, an ambitious dungeon crawler that had gamers drooling since its initial previews. While at first glance one may think that this was Sony's answer to Zelda, I mean, just look at the main character and try not to think of Link, yet Dark Cloud is anything but. Combining dungeon exploring, city building, and 3D action combat, Dark Cloud is a unique experience still nearly 20 years later. Come with me as we examine what makes this PS2 title so great. Dark Cloud began development in 1998 with the founding of gaming studio Level 5. This would be the developer's first title, and they would later become renowned for many other successful franchises such as the puzzle-heavy Professor Layton series, the Pokemon-esque Yokai Watch, the beautiful Ni no Kuni, and the sports-centered RPG Inazuma 11. The game was originally targeted as a PlayStation 2 launch title, but it was pushed back by approximately 6 months for it to be polished as much as possible, releasing in December of 2000 in Japan and May of 2001 in the United States. The game was a success, selling over 800,000 units worldwide and garnering a sequel in 2002. Our adventure begins when Colonel Flag Gilgeister, yeah, that's his name, of the Eastern Lagoon Empire awakens the legendary Dark Genie. The genie agrees to grant the Colonel one wish, which is to destroy the enemy nations of the West. Sensing that a powerful, world-destroying spell has been cast, the Fairy King Simba, again, yeah, that's his name, uses his own magic to seal the western cities in miraculous bubbles called Atla. These protect the people and homes from the genie's blast, yet the immense power of the genie scatters the Atla into dungeons that dwell nearby. Players control Link lookalike Tone, whose village of Naroon has been destroyed by the genie. The Fairy King sees in Tone the heart of a fearless warrior, thus he grants the young boy with a portion of his power so that he may restore order to the world and defeat the vile genie. Simba then presents Tone with the Atla Melia, a stone that can awaken the objects inside the Atla and restore them to their place in the world. The vast majority of the game takes place in the dungeons associated with each village. These labyrinths are randomly generated, consisting of numerous levels that change each time the player enters them. Here, you will find all kinds of random items from hidden treasures to healing springs, and of course, all manner of wicked beasts. The goal for each floor is to obtain all of the Atla that are stored there, as well as find the exit, but watch out! Each exit requires a type of key to delve deeper into the dungeon. In the beginning, this simply means killing the right enemy to force the key to drop, but later the requirements are much stiffer. Take the forest, for instance, which has an owl serving as gatekeeper. Killing enemies in the forest will cause some to drop one of 4 different types of items, and each owl will only open the way forward if given the item he randomly favors. The one downside is that dungeons are rather simplistic. While each one has its own theme, my favorite being this haunted sunken pirate ship, you will find the same types of hallways leading to enemy-filled rooms in each area. This leads to the repetitive nature that plagues most dungeon crawlers, but if you tolerated it in Diablo, you'll tolerate it here too. Combat is also rather basic. Tapping the action button will result in a standard attack, while holding the button down will unleash a charged attack. That's about it. You do have dodging and blocking capabilities and some items such as bombs that can be thrown at enemies, but there's no spells, no advanced tactics, or anything like that. What you do have are party members that you can switch to on the fly as you unlock them during the game. These colorful cast of characters each have their own type of weapon and have their own advantages in battle. Zhao, a mysterious cat-like girl, uses a quick-firing slingshot that can hit enemies from afar. Goro, an extremely strong little boy, crushes foes with his devastating axes and hammers. Ruby, a kind-natured genie, uses magic-imbued rings to cast spells. Ungaga, the warrior monk, has long-reaching poles to fight baddies at a comfortable distance. Lastly, there's Osmond, an alien-like rabbit creature that flies with his backpack and guns down enemies with a high rate of fire. While the early game can be very tedious, as the game progresses, combat becomes much more exciting as players utilize the characters that best suit the obstacles ahead of them. Unlike standard RPGs, your characters don't level up in Dark Cloud. You can increase your health and thirst levels by finding items, thirst being a meter that drops while exploring dungeons, requiring your characters to drink water, but you can't increase any other stats. Instead, your weapons will level up with use. You can equip gems to your weapons, increasing their statistics such as strength, speed, endurance, and durability. Slaying enemies will grant you experience points for the weapon used, and upon a level up, your weapon absorbs the power of the gems, allowing the player to place new ones to further enhance its power. To get the absolute most out of your gear though, once you reach level 10 with any weapon, you can transform it into its own gem, equipping it into a new weapon of your choosing. You can then have your new item absorb the essence of your old weapon, making a high-quality killing machine. Defense items are non-existent in Dark Cloud, and their absence I believe is noticeable. I would have enjoyed being able to improve my character's defensive stats in a similar way, but instead we have potions that provide temporary resistances and benefits. C'est la vie. The only thing that frustrates me with this method is that weapons have a tendency to break. Yeah, just like in Breath of the Wild, each weapon has its own durability, and you must keep constant watch to ensure that it doesn't go past its limit. Carrying a hefty amount of repair tools is essential to victory. Should your weapon be used too many times, no matter how strong it is, it will break and be gone forever. This will likely result in a few thrown controllers too, or at least a reload at the last game save. Outside of dungeons, the player will be reconstructing the cities destroyed by the genie by utilizing the atla that they have uncovered. In each area that you visit, you will first find that it's barren of most life, save one or two domiciles. In the dungeons, you will find everything that used to belong in the villages, from the former residents to the doors of their homes and even the roads that people once walked upon. Going back to the city builder, you will assemble the homes from the parts that you find and place the buildings where the residents prefer. Some may request to witness the sunrise from their front door, thus you must ensure you place the home facing the east. Another villager may love to fish, so putting them near a water source is ideal. It's the simple problem-solving mechanic that expands the city building into something more than just putting things wherever you think they look best, and it's actually really fun. Guaranteeing the Meet the Villagers request will reward Tone with special items such as rare gems or unique weapons. Initially, I felt that the city builder was a bit too shallow, and in the opening villages, this would be correct. The villagers' desires aren't that complex, the types of things you build aren't that special, and the rewards are pretty paltry. This all changes as you visit much more complex areas. Stick with it, and the city builder becomes a major highlight. Dark Cloud is pleasing to look at even today, especially on the PS4, where you can download a version optimized to run on HD TVs. The characters are joyfully designed, reminiscent of Studio Ghibli anime from the time period, and colors can be quite alluring. Character models, though, can be rather stiff, and there are a few animations during conversations, which is somewhat of a letdown. The game makes up for this with some impressive in-engine cinematics, including a few quick-time event scenes, something that was still fresh to the gaming world at the time and not overused like it has been more recently. Dark Cloud also sports a dynamic night and day system, which few games could boast, but it mostly only serves as a bullet point to help sell the game. Controls are surprisingly good for an early 3D action game, borrowing the targeting system that made Ocarina of Time so successful. The camera system, however, could really use some work. Often, Tone will target a foe off-screen, and the camera will not correctly position itself. Objects such as pillars and trees also have a habit of blocking the player's view, making some battles harder than they should be. Dark Cloud's music is composed by, at the time newcomer, Nishiura Tomohiko, who has since went on to work on the Professor Layton series and 2005's Rogue Legacy. The songs here embody every sense of the word adventure, and transport the player into its imaginative world with its Celtic-inspired tunes. There are some truly memorable tracks here, especially the main theme and some of the dungeon melodies. For a rookie effort, Nishiura's work is an undeniable success. When I first stated on social media that I was going to be playing Dark Cloud, several people wished me luck. I didn't know what they meant. Was the game that difficult? Was it that hard to find enjoyment? I found neither case to be true. Sure, there are complicated sections early on, but these can be overcome with a little leveling and becoming comfortable with the controls. Compared to games made 2 decades later, the game can also appear a little bland and not nearly as deep as it set out to be at the turn of the millennium. Regardless, it's still a fun experience, and any RPG lover would be missing out on this addictive experience should they choose to skip it. Pick it up digitally on the PS4 store, or snag an original copy at most any retro game store, and experience one of the PlayStation 2's first role-playing games. You won't be disappointed.